What is it with fighting games and constantly getting leaked these days? I mean, seriously. So as we all know, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite has been very hush-hush when it comes down to the whole thing, and we've only been getting some news revolving around this video game here and there. However, it seems that the entire roster for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite has been leaked. And yes, there have been a bunch of claims that they have leaked the entire roster in the past, but this is coming from the source that has leaked the existence of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite before it got announced. So take this with a huge grain of salt, however there's a pretty good chance that this could very well be real. So what I'm gonna do is pretty much read off who is indeed confirmed for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite according to this leaked article, and give my thoughts on the entire leaked roster. So first of all, I'm going to start with Capcom, because as you can see from their roster, they do seem kinda lackluster. Because there are a few characters who are kinda questionable as to why they're back, and there's also some classic characters who are not returning. So for the Capcom roster, we have Arthur, who will be coming back, who is a little surprising to me because I didn't expect Arthur to come back, but at the end of the day, he's a very classic character in the Capcom games, so I don't see why not he should make a return. Chris Redfield will also be coming back, and I was hoping that we would have Leon Kennedy instead, but oh well, I'll take it. We need a Resident Evil representative. A character who is already confirmed 100% is Chun-Li, and you really have to have this character in because she is a mainstay within this franchise. Dante is apparently going to be returning, and as long as he's not the reboot Dante, I will be very happy. We also have Firebrand, and I'm not gonna lie, he is a waste of space for a character slot, and you could replace him with pretty much anyone, and I doubt anyone would give a shit. We also have a new inclusion who is of course Cheddar, and a lot of people really wanted to have another Darkstalkers inclusion, and so I think Cheddar is a good way to go. Another new inclusion to this roster is of course Monster Hunter, and having a new character who will represent a new franchise that has never been exploited in the Marvel vs. Capcom universe is pretty exciting. Another character who we know is 100% confirmed is Morrigan, and again, she is a mainstay. You can't do a Marvel vs. Capcom game without Morrigan. We also have Nemesis who will be making a return, and as much as I'm a fan of this character, I don't see why he's coming back. But oh well, I shouldn't complain too much. We also have Ryu, who is already in the game, and at this point Ryu is the poster boy for this franchise, so again, he is a must-have. Spencer will also make a comeback, and I don't think anyone really wanted him back, but since he's from a classic franchise, I guess. Strider is already confirmed to be in this game, and again, he's a fan favourite, so of course you're gonna have him. And finally we have X, or rather Mega Man X. It's about time we have some love for the Mega Man franchise again. And the list also noted that there's one missing Capcom character, but everyone is assuming at this point that this is going to be Frank West. And I'm a sucker for Dead Rising, so I'm all for him coming back. Now we get to the Marvel side of things, and if you thought that the Capcom side was underwhelming, then the Marvel's roster is on a whole new low. So first up we have a newcomer who is of course Ant-Man. And to me Ant-Man makes sense, he's in the MCU, and of course they're going to bank off of that franchise. Plus Ant-Man is a cool character, so I'm all for this. We also know for a fact that Captain America is 100% confirmed to be in the game. And as you should know by now, he is a mainstay, so of course you're going to have to keep Captain America around. We also have Captain Marvel, who is 100% confirmed as well, and I'm so happy that we're going to have Captain Marvel because she's a very kick-ass character in the comics. Doctor Strange is going to be making a return, and considering he already had a movie, it's a no-brainer that he'll be coming back. We also have a newcomer who is Gamora, who is a pretty random choice for a Guardians of the Galaxy character considering everyone wants Star-Lord, but I suppose you need another female character, so I guess. Hawkeye is also guaranteed to be making a return, and again, he's an Avenger, so of course you're gonna have to have him back. Hulk will be making a comeback, and again, that's a no-brainer because he's been around since pretty much day one. Iron Man is also confirmed to be coming back, and again, he is the poster boy for Marvel at this point, so you really do need him. Nova will be coming back as well, which is pretty interesting because I don't think many people used them. However, it's unclear whether this is going to be Richard Rider coming back or whether they're going to use Sam Alexander instead. Rocket Raccoon is 100% confirmed, but this time he is actually linked with Groot. So whether Rocket will play exactly the same as Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, just with Groot assists here and there, remains to be seen. We also have Spider-Man, who will be making a return, and again, you really need the character considering he's been around since day one, and he is also one of the most popular characters in the Marvel franchise. We also have Thanos, who will be making his triumphant return ever since Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And considering we already have the Infinity Stones in the game, as well as being very prominent in the MCU, it was pretty much a guarantee that Thanos will be making a return. We also have Thor, who will be making a comeback, and again, that was a guarantee. He has been around for a very long time, and he is also a very prominent member in the Marvel comics. And finally, we have Ultron, who is 100% confirmed, considering that he is going to be one of the main villains in the game. Now, my overall thought on this roster is that I don't think that's necessarily bad, I just think it's incredibly underwhelming. I mean, more so than the original Marvel vs. Capcom 3 roster, and that's saying something. And as for the character choices, I don't think they're bad either. In fact, I think that they're rather solid for the most part. The thing is, I just find it very lacking in some other characters that they could have brought back as well as introduce. For instance, Capcom is very lacking when it comes down to bringing back some classic characters as well as introducing some fresh characters who would be perfect for this game. For instance, you could have brought back Amaterasu, or how about Asura? He would have felt right at home with this franchise. Hell, where's Felicia? I mean, she's a mainstay. Why isn't she coming back? And why in the living hell is M. Bison not back? He is more or less Capcom's Doom. And Marvel is just as guilty when it comes down to this because they are lacking so many characters that they could have used. It's so painfully shocking that Black Panther is missing from this roster, because he would have been perfect in this game. Hell, why haven't they introduced Daredevil into any of these games yet? Considering his show is so hot right now. And why haven't they even introduced the Green Goblin yet? He is the #1 Spider-Man villain after all. And lastly, where the fuck are the Inhumans? They've been advertised for so long, it baffles my mind as to why they're not even in the game. And of course, there's also the question in relation to the X-Men as well as the Fantastic Four characters, because of the whole debacle with Marvel and Fox. Now, I did make a video a while back on what I think will be the fate of the X-Men and Fantastic Four characters for the new Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite game, but long story short, I think that these characters will be saved for DLC, and I go more in depth on as to why I think this way. As for DLC characters, we know for a fact that Sigma will be among one of them, and that we're going to have at least 6 characters for the first season of DLC characters, Sigma included. But one certain character has been leaked, that character being Venom, who fans have been clamouring for a very long time. And if that's the case, I'm happy that at least we're going to have Venom instead of no Venom at all. However, I do wish that he was in the original roster at launch. But like I said, it's better than no Venom at all. Now, like I said, this leak came from a Reddit post, and this is apparently coming from the same guy who did leak the existence of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite before it got announced. So there could be some truth to this. Now, do I personally believe that this is going to be the final roster for the game's launch? Yes and no. Because when you add up all these characters, excluding any of the DLC characters, the roster only amounts to 28 characters. Now, if you look at Marvel vs. Capcom 3, not talk about the Ultimate version here, just the original, and excluded the DLC characters, we had a total of 36 characters. And if you think of it this way, then you would imagine that they would want to include at least a few more characters on top of that leaked roster so that they would at the very least be exactly the same as Marvel vs. Capcom 3, if not have a few more characters. So while I do believe that this leaked roster is in fact true, I'm inclined to believe that there are several characters that have yet to be revealed. But at the very least, Capcom are still working on these characters. So my final thought on this leaked roster, although I do believe that some of these character choices are very solid, I do believe that the entire roster is very lacking on certain characters by both sides. However, I still do believe that Capcom is still working on this. But then again, Capcom does have its tendencies of releasing games half finished. But let's hope it doesn't amount to that. So how do you feel about the leaked roster for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and do you believe that this could be real or fake? Comment below and share some thoughts. And as always, thank you guys for watching this video, please like and subscribe, take care and have a good one.